Chapter 7, The Rich Young Master and the Poor Young Lady 07. Letitia grew up in a remote small town in the South. Her family's economic conditions were not good, so she had developed a thrifty habit since childhood. She was not willing to stay in that small town forever, and when she reached the age, she would get married and have children, then live out her life. Unlike her delicate and fragile appearance, she had a strong will. She wanted to change this situation. She had to leave that small town. She studied hard, and finally passed the university entrance exam. Even though she was still too poor, even though she was always intentionally and unintentionally ostracized by her classmates, she did not mind. She knew what her goal was. But fate is always extremely playful. Her younger brother injured someone else, the family paid a fortune in medical expenses, and was already unable to shoulder his tuition. Therefore she began to work part-time everywhere. In that ordinary coffee shop, she met Kenzo accidentally walked in. In her nearly 20 years of life, she had never met such a gentle and handsome man, and her heart was moved. But she was not stupid. She did not feel that there was anything about her that could attract this charming young master, so she pretended to not care, and tightly hid her feelings. But like this, she seemed to have made Kenzo interested. Even though she knew that with her condition she could not marry him, she still sank deeper and deeper. When she pulled his hand and walked into this extremely luxurious hall, her inferiority complex had already buried her. Logan's kind of evaluation of the item made her feel uneasy, so their next conversation was like a drill deeply piercing into her sensitive heart. The more miserable she felt, the more gentle her smile became, until Logan pointed at the legendary Miss Grant. She realized what a difference there was. Similarly, a white dress, if one were to say that she was a delicate little white flower, that Miss Grant was the moon of the horizon, an existence that could only command people to look up to. "That's Luna Grant?" She heard Kenzo say that. The surprise in his voice was almost impossible to hide. "That's right. I don't know who rumored that she only has beauty but no charm, but this temperament, she is truly a goddess, instantly defeated your second cousin." Logan smiled and patted his shoulder, blinking his eyes. "Kenzo, you are truly blessed." Kenzo suddenly regained his senses and said, "Don't talk nonsense, I have Tia now." Logan heard this and silently rolled his eyes, but in a second his voice trembled as he said, Kenzo, she's coming over here." "What?" Kenzo raised his eyes and saw Diana holding a glass of champagne, walking towards them. He suddenly felt a little dry-mouthed and dry-tongued, and could only hide it and lower his head. "Host, they look at you." 2333 fell on Diana's shoulder, said, "Do you want to go find the male and female lead?" Diana's mouth corner slightly curved, also did not pay attention to 2333, went straight to Kenzo in front, said, "Kenzo Graham?" Kenzo suddenly raised his eyes, saw the person who came slightly smiled, peerlessly beautiful. He felt his throat was a bit dry, but how could not take his eyes off? What a coincidence, Miss Grant. Indeed, what a coincidence. Diana tilted her head, meaning something. "You two know each other?" Logan looked at Kenzo, then looked at Diana, uncertainly asking, "We've met a few times." Diana gently nodded to him. "That's really fate. I think Kenzo should invite Miss Grant to a meal." Logan swallowed, struggling to move his gaze away. "Yes?" Diana's eyes swept over Letitia, smiling, "Standing in front of your girlfriend to invite other girls to dinner, this isn't good." "Miss Grant, don't misunderstand, Miss Fox is just my partner today." Kenzo gently pulled down Letitia's hand and said. Diana saw Letitia's eyes suddenly drooping. She couldn't help but reveal a faint smile, lightly nodding. While Diana was chatting with the male lead, she didn't know that the moment she entered the hall, someone had already noticed her. Chapter 8, The Rich Young Master and the Poor Young Lady 08. Diana walked around the hall and felt a little exhausted. Will Hotel is the most luxurious hotel in this city. It is famous in City A that it has a sky garden on the top floor, just right next to the banquet hall. She walked on the cobblestone path, looking at all kinds of precious flowers and grasses around, couldn't help but curl up the corners of her mouth and said to 2333, "It's really beautiful, don't know how much money and effort it took. I heard that this is the current Graham family head who built it for his wife." 2333 flew to a gorgeous rose, and said seriously, Oh? She felt interested. I read in the story, the Graham family head is a serious old man. He actually has such a romantic side? He was indeed romantic when he was young. He was a famous flirtatious young master. It was just that his wife died early, making him change his personality. 2333 explained, human emotions are too complicated, making it impossible to understand. She lowered her eyes, reaching out to rub the other side of the flower. For a moment, her memories were in chaos. She suddenly remembered when she was still an ordinary person. She let out a soft sigh. Miss Grant? A voice suddenly sounded from behind. She regained her senses, turned around and looked up, stunned. In front of her was a tall and handsome man, with deep facial features, gray pupils that seemed to have some European bloodline. Although he smiled slightly, it made her instinctively feel a trace of danger. 2333. Who is this? Who is this? Who is this? Host, calm down. This is Augustus Graham, the banquet host, the male lead's cousin. 2333 rushed forward to comfort her. Why didn't you tell me someone was approaching? She now resembled a cat with fluffy fur. Although the surface still maintained calm, the inside was like being scratched by a claw like that, so went crazy. Monitoring function was withdrawn by the main system, currently unable to change. 2333's stiff voice seemed to have a bit mistreated. She was a bit speechless, also couldn't be mad at 2333. After all, it was her previous mission failure leading to unable to monitor the things around her. She couldn't help but slightly dejectedly blink her eyes. Miss Grant, are you okay? Augustus took a step forward, his gray pupils seemed to show a hint of worry. Nothing. She secretly lifted her spirits, looked up at him and revealed a faint smile, and said doubtfully, You are? I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Augustus Graham. Hello, Mr. Graham. She smiled and nodded at him. Miss Grant doesn't need to be so polite. Maybe after a while, we'll become a family. He said, How about this? I'll call you Luna. You can also call me by my name directly. She thought to herself, why does he want to call me Luna? I immediately think of Leonard. What happened in the previous world might have become a haunting memory for her life. Especially, somehow, the sense of danger that Augustus gave her was especially similar to Leonard. 2333, is this person really not Leonard? At this time 2333 had already flown far away. It hid behind a flower, softly said, I'm also not sure. Host, I'm a bit scared. What are you afraid of? You are an AI, why would you have this kind of fear emotion? She was really powerless to complain. Could it be that her AI evolved? Host, I feel you should still casually say a few words to Augustus first. He's still smiling and looking at you. 2333 used its mechanical arm to point. Mr. Graham, this garden is really beautiful. Your grandfather must have spent a lot of money. The words just left her mouth and she felt a little regretful. How could she take back what she had said? The money actually didn't cost much. However, this garden is mine now. If you like it, I'll give it to you. Is that okay? He curled the corner of his mouth and said. She thought with surprise. What is he saying?